Hey guys, welcome to Mentor District. I'm Molis,
Rafa.
and we're here with a special guest, two special guests. Go ahead, introduce yourself.
My name is Gilbert Marques. I am the founder creator of Pachuco Hat Company.
Okay, and
Hi, I'm Cynthia. Thanks for having me. I am a Pachuco Supplies
designer.
designer. Yeah.
Designer. Okay,
Mad Hatter, I'd say.
and we started off the right way. First, we started. Rafa, what did they bring?
A nice little mezcal bottle. Ilegal, right?
Ilegal. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. One of the many hats I wear is global ambassador for Mezcal Ilegal. So I wanted to bring you guys a little present. Kind of open up our conversation a little bit more.
Nice. Thank you so much. And I think we should do a little cheers.
You know what? Rafa sounds nervous, so let's take a shot. Right, muchachos? Salud.
Saludcita.
Cheers.
Salud.
Was I supposed to drink it that fast or no?
No, pues, however you want.
Ingas.
It's perfect.
There's no rules for
Sweet.
that.
Oh, I love it. Oh, we were talking about it earlier. I love mezcal. Way better than tequila.
Yeah, I always say mezcal is not just a spirit or liquor that gets you drunk.
Mm-hmm.
Mezcal is cultura. Mezcal is Mexico.
Yes.
Everybody knows that for funerals, weddings, anything, we use mezcal to celebrate. It's ingrained in our culture.
Mm-hmm.
So mezcal for me is culture. That's why I wanted to bring you guys a little bit.
Thank you. Thank you so much, man. Appreciate that. And because I read an article a couple of days ago about how mezcal is blowing up right now.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah,
like
it's-
coming up strong.
Yeah, just like anything, like how many times have we seen huaraches sold for $400 on the internet now? Like people like our culture. People like our culture. People like drinking the spirits and the products that we make. So
Hey, speaking of that, how do you guys feel when you see someone that's not Mexican selling Mexican products? Do you feel offended? The reason I asked was because I saw, no me acuerdo donde, they did a pop-up, and it was a white guy selling Mexican huaraches. And, I mean, I respect the hustle, but I think there's a line.
yeah, definitely. I think that everything comes back to respect. The respect for the culture, working with people responsibly. If you are sourcing huaraches in Guanajuato and you're paying 200 pesos for it, and then you ask the family who's making them if they can, si lo puede rebajar, if you can lower down the prices a little bit more, and then you come to Silver Lake and you start selling them for $200, I don't think that's respectful. But there are a lot of güeros out there that love Mexican culture and do it respectfully too. It's for me a case-by-case basis whether I get pissed or not.
Right. Yeah, because I went to it was a conference workshop pop-up thing. It was a lot of white people, spirituality stuff, and vendors. And I was seeing that a lot of them, a lot of it was Mexican products just with their brand on it. Like,
yeah, that
like,
definitely happens a lot.
wow,
I don't appreciate it as much as I would appreciate someone. But listen, I mean, respect is respect, and your word is your word. And if people are working with the people who are producing the products in a fair way, I guess that's okay. But I also, wouldn't sell eggs Benedict.
Guys, going off the subject, I don't know how the cups got full. ¿Quién llenó los vasos? I just realized they're full.
You should
Yeah.
Estás ilusionando.
And then when we started, what is that you lit up?
Little Palo Santo. I just wanted to kind of clear out any negative energy. I didn't feel any negative energy when I met you guys.
That was probably the AC you were feeling, though.
Yeah.
Cuando entras y te pega fuerte allí.
I know, and then someone was in the bathroom. No, Yeah, no, I didn't feel any negative energy, but there's something about breathing in a little Palo Santo or sage to start a ceremony. I mean, this is a ceremony. Anytime we sit down with people and open up conversation, that could be a ceremony. Any small type of talk, type of thing, for me is a ceremony. We had a little bit of mezcal. You know, right. Agua Santa or Agua Bendita, right? Agua Bendita. So, yeah, man, this is definitely a ceremony. And then, you know, why not add a little bit of Palo Santo to make sure that there's good vibes out here?
I loved it because when we were starting, he said, like, you brought out that thing, like, Palo Santo. I'm like, okay, cool. We can relate with this. Well, let me go get my bowl real quick, go bring another one.
I pulled it out of my shirt pocket. And I was thinking, like, oh, these fools are going to think I brought out a joint or something. But I was like, right? That's in my pants pocket, not my shirt pocket.
That one's later.
All right, so we're here because you guys are introducing to our público la brand, the hats, right?
Yeah.
Se llama Pachuco Supply?
Pachuco Supply.
Okay, so Pachuco Supply, I mean, hats very, I want to say hats are trending right now, but I just feel that guys are starting to care a little bit more about accessories.
Yeah.
Porque somos bien malos.
Yeah.
Me personally, I've always been into accessories, especially hats. Especially ahorita, you know, I have some skin disorder, so I have to cover the top of my head at all times. So I'm always wearing baseball hats or any kind of hats. But a friend of mine, Carlos, que le mandamos saludos,
sí.
He told me about your company.
Yeah. And
he's like, hey, if you like hats, you need to check these guys. Son Latinos, and, you know, they do everything themselves. And I was like, all right, I need to check it out. But it was one of those things like, yeah, you know, when I get to it. Pasaron semanas, and I seen him. I was like, dude, he wasn't playing. How can you describe your company or your hats? Porque no son hats que puedes comprar en la tienda. Like, they're very personalized.
Yeah, I guess the gringadera that I would say is that they're bespoke hats. They are hats that are 100% custom. Usually I do a lot of the work on Instagram with people. I'd send them videos and I'm like, oh, well, this is the fabric that we're using today. Is this good with you? You want to change it? Anything that inspires you, please send it to me. We had a gentleman who has a car company, or like a car customization company. They do like lowrider trucks and stuff. He sent me a picture of his lowrider truck, and we made him a hat.
Based
off color, texture, that type of thing. So I would describe it as bespoke hats, custom hats, made to order, made to size. Sometimes people ask us, oh, can you just bring a couple hats out here? I was like, well, no, that's not how it works. We make everything for the individual.
And one thing I liked was that when I came in, I'm wearing a hat right now. I won't say the name of the brand, but you told me, I like the hat because it's your size. And I like that because, for example, if you go buy a suit, anyone's going to sell you a suit because they need to make a sale. But when the jacket, you know, is just falling over your shoulder, or the sleeve is just too long where you can't see the shirt, it's like, you know, nothing like a good customized to your body. And I realized that you have an eye for that. Y me gustó lo luego.
Yeah.
So
yeah, definitely. Hats are like rings. Hats are like shoes. Hats are like bags. A real gentleman will wear a hat. You know, you always, when you see someone wearing a hat, you're like, oh shit, this guy cares about how he looks. But there is one hat for everybody. Sometimes I get friends who only wear baseball caps. They're like, oh, I don't wear those type of hats because they don't fit me. Well, you just haven't looked. You haven't worked with someone who can get you a hat that actually fits you and fits your body type, your facial structure, that type of thing. That's the way. It's like glasses. You know, you can't just wear any glasses either.
So I'm gonna ask you a question that'll help a lot of people, and I'll give you a perfect example. I'm a big sneaker guy. I'm into sneakers. It's something I've loved. You know, I've been collecting shoes since like '99, so I'm up there. Shoe, for example, I'm a size 9.5, and if there's a shoe, if there's a shoe that I like that's a 9, which is like half a size smaller, I personally wouldn't buy it. But you know, for example, for the audience, para que sepan un poco más, if you buy a size 9, because that's what they have, one trick you could do is if you take the insole out, it takes half a size.
Really?
So you're a 9.5 and you go and there's a size 10.
Yeah.
And if you buy it, it's half a size big. So that half a size will mess up your shoe. Porque como te queda grande and when you walk, it's going to crease more and more.
Yeah.
So the trick to that is you put another insole to your 9.5 to fit the 10.
Oh, okay.
Let me ask you, is there a trick like that for your hats?
Yeah. So if the hat is too snug, you can definitely stretch it with time. You soak the area where your head, the area around the sweatband with some water. Put your hat on, wear it for the whole day. That'll stretch it out. You can take the sweatband out. The sweatband is only preventing the sweat from getting into your hat and you having those ugly sort of stains that you might get. So that's what the sweatband is. Or you can insert a piece of foam into the sweatband, under the sweatband. Sometimes I get some friends that get hats, like mass-produced, machine-made hats, and they fit them a little bit too small, or a little bit too big, I'm sorry. Just tell them, just like, I even have a homie who gets a paper napkin and folds it a bunch of times and stuffs it in there, and hat fits good. Sometimes wind is a factor. You don't want your hat to be too loose. When I was living in New York, my hat would fly off all the time. It looked like a Benny Hill commercial or a Benny Hill skit or something like that. It's falling over.
So how did we talk about it? Because I was serving mezcal and
Ya te pegó.
putting the Palo Santo. I haven't had breakfast. Y no escuché al principio. How did it all start? ¿Cómo empezó todo aquí?
With the Palo Santo or
No, with the hats, and all that stuff.
Well,
how did it start?
For me, the hat company started with my father, que en paz descanse. I was a kid and I would dress up and I would get like little lowrider hats, little straw lowrider hats, and put on a nice button up and crease my pants, my dickies, and I would walk out. I was like, "¿A dónde vas tan Pachuco?" And I go, "Oh no, I'm just gonna go over here." He's like, "Oh, my dad would always call me Pachuco when I would dress up, and that always stuck with me. He also loved hats. My grandpa also loved hats, so I would in turn wear hats too. It was always a part of my character. Like I remember on Instagram, I took a photo of my shadow on the floor, and someone was like, "Oh, you have like a personality if someone can tell who you are by just your shadow." Because I had the bottle of mezcal, like that type of thing. So I decided, I was like, okay, well, people kind of know me for making hats. I'm gonna make a couple of my friends some hats, and I made two of my best friends a custom hat. I made 4 hats. I fucked up 2, and I made 2 good ones. So I made those hats for my friends, and then more and more people started asking for it, and it became a hit. We obviously, myself and my wife Cynthia, are self-taught hat makers, hatters, and I think that some of the style that we create or put towards the hats is a happy accident of not knowing what the rules are. You have to break the rules if you don't know what the rules are, right? We don't even know we're breaking the rules. It's just something. It's a happy accident.
Just do it and figure it out.
Yeah.
So the reason I was asking you guys about the fit and stuff like that, I personally recommend to just take it to a professional. You guys can reach Pachuco. What's your Instagram?
It's at Pachuco Supply.
Yeah, go to at Pachuco Supply and just get it done from the professional. The reason I ask is because the hat I'm wearing right now, I bought it, I loved it. El material estaba bien suavecito.
Uh-huh.
And one day I was wearing it, and it was a hat store, and the guy, I had a stain, but I knew you could take it off with the brush.
Mm-hmm.
So the guy's like, hey, bring your hat. Let me clean it. I was like, no, I'm okay. And he's like, no. He's like, I like it. He's like, where'd you get it from? So yeah, sort of he like, put me in and this and that. And he's like, let me clean it for you. He's like, no te voy a cobrar. He's like, I love hats and I don't like to see that stain. So I'm like, all right, cool. He's doing it for free. Se lo di, and he messed up my hat. The texture of it, it's really hard.
Oh, he stiffened it.
Yeah. So when he did it, it was fine. And he's like, it's a little wet or moist.
Yeah.
He's like, just give it a few hours. He said, I'll come that. And I left it. I put it in a basketball when I got home. Just let it sit there.
Yeah.
The next day when I touched it, it was like hard.
Yeah.
And I was like pissed because it was like really nice and it just had its own texture, its own
structure.
Yeah. So like, is there any way for me to bring it back from that or?
With time, the shellac and that's the sound of the hat when it's a little stiff. Yeah. You flick it. I like the hats a little bit stiffer, but not everybody does. Some people like them a little bit more pliable. With time, it'll start to get a little bit looser. But yeah, sometimes the hats shrink and.
I do keep it inside the box.
Yeah. So
should I take it out the box?
Yeah. No, keeping it inside the box should be good. It'll be okay. Yeah, as long as it doesn't come out crooked every time you pull it out. But if it ever does get crooked, you can iron it. The one thing. Well, actually, a couple things. The main things that we use for creating a hat is fire and water. Water from steam, fire for branding and sort of putting some wear on the hats. You can fix any hat with steam.
Steam? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, I'm not touching it anymore. I'm gonna just leave it as is. Like in the front, if you can see here, it would sort of like slant a little bit. Yeah. It had its own little, thing. Y pues ya último valió madre, but I had no choice but to just wear it as is.
Planchalo, yeah. It looks good. I like it. It's just probably too stiff for you,
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a hat stiffener that people put on. It's like shellac with alcohol, like a really, really high percentage of alcohol, probably like 99% alcohol, and shellac.
Back in the day, in the 90s, I remember we should put starch.
You can put starch. You can put cornstarch. Yeah. You can put starch. There's a lot of different ways. I use the old school way, which is shellac flakes and alcohol, which is more dangerous because have you ever heard the term Mad Hatter? No. So a Mad Hatter is a real like Alice in Wonderland. Yeah, there's a Mad Hatter, right? Yeah. So that was a real term because people were actually were going a little bit crazy from the fumes and stuff that they were using,
chemicals
of the old school process of using the hat. So we just so we use that method, the old school method. We just do it in a really well ventilated area, make sure that we don't breathe in any of those fumes.
Pretty dangerous.
Yes, lead and all this other stuff.
I could imagine.
Yeah.
And so Cynthia, how did he said his story about the hats? Did he get you involved with the hats, or did you like hats already?
Absolutely. I wore hats when we started dating, and I told him it was like it was his style. So I mentioned it to him. I was like, why don't you start a hat company? And he said, I'm thinking about it.
Oh, you got support, huh? She's the one who...
He started creating these hats for his friends. He started creating these hats for his friends, and I was like, that's so badass. Like, you just did it out of nowhere, and he kind of got me into it, and I started learning more, and I wanted to learn more, and it just happened. He was like, why don't you burn? Because I do like drawing, I like sketching and stuff, and I'm like, and he got me a tattoo machine. He's like, why don't you start tattooing? And I'm like, that's weird, and I never thought about that. And I started it. I did a few designs, really nothing. And he's like, would you like to try it on a hat? And I was like, that sounds weird, but yeah, let's do it. And so I sketched a flash to create on hats, and I posted it on Instagram, and people were like, oh my God, I like this design. How much would it be to do it? And I'm like, I'll just do it, just to test it out, see how it goes. It came out really good. And I was like, that's I'll keep doing it. And I just started designing and creating different designs for the hats, especially on the crown. And people started loving them. And now people order their own logos. Yeah, there's a restaurant who hit us up recently. He's like, can you incorporate our logo into a hat? And I did that, and they loved it. It was like, it's so badass. So yeah, I just like doing it by hand. People tend to do it with a machine. I just like doing it by hand because that counts more. And we want to keep it 100% hecho a mano. So
Yeah, I started kind of scarring the hats or distressing the hats, but I don't have talent. I don't have, no le tengo ese toque de talento para, you know, all of like the steady handwork that she does or that she uses for printing this stuff on the hats. So I started asking her because I knew that she had real talent when it came to drawing and creating designs and freestyling. She was actually one of the first people who made a logo in our warehouse where we, or our, not our warehouse, our workshop where we, warehouse sounds huge, huh? It's a garage. Yeah, so she did one of the first logos, and I noticed, I was like, yeah, she has a really steady hand, and I've always already liked her art, her drawings and stuff that she did. So we were always fans of tattoos, and felt is fur, furs. Yeah.
I had no idea you were fans of tattoo.
Yeah, you can't really tell.
Yeah.
At first sight.
just a little.
I always I love tattoos, and my dad had more tattoos than me, way more tattoos than me, and I was always a fan of them and wanted to put my mark on these hats, but I couldn't execute. So I asked my wife, you know, she's got a super steady hand, and started creating these sort of pieces of quote unquote flash is what we call them. So if you guys ever go to a tattoo shop and you look at the wall and you see the pre-made designs on the wall, that's called flash. So I asked her to create flash for the hats, and we've been working with that ever since. Sometimes we do get some people who ask for some weird things, and we put them on.
Custom designs.
Yes, no problem. Put them right on. We made this hat. Maybe on Instagram we could put it up so you guys can see it.
I love that hat.
Who's looking at the podcast? Yeah. But this hat was made right after the shooting that just happened in El Paso.
Right.
And it's a design of a gun with a little peace sign on it and some flowers coming out of it, and the cross, the signature Pachuco cross that we put on the left side of the hats, is basically the design of like buckshot or whatever the shotgun pattern would be. Yeah, so we wanted to, and then we have a little Palo Santo on the side, and she created this design and executed and put on the hat, yeah, I think that there's a lot of hidden messages within our designs.
Yeah.
For sure.
Because I've been following you guys for a while, and I see your hats, and ahorita, ¿cómo te puedo decir? I guess it's a trend to be a hat maker.
Yeah.
Now that celebrities are like,
oh,
they're all wearing it,
yeah.
and it's cool, you know.
Yeah.
Me gusta. Pero you have to have your signature. I feel as an artist.
Yeah.
You know, you have to have your signature, and I follow you guys, and I was like, man, I love it. They're doing, you know, things that sometimes you would think, but you wouldn't do, porque it's like el miedo que me salga mal or whatever. And your hats are very creative. I love that from you guys. So if you guys want to see what I'm talking about, métanse en Instagram at Pachuco Supply, and you'll see all their stuff.
Yeah.
One thing that I loved was you guys had like colored hats, no?
Yeah.
Like, is that big? Are people asking for it?
Yeah.
Or is that something you guys are trying to introduce?
Yeah, so the colored hats or
I thought it was a blunt. Dije, no mames, nos vas a morir.
Nos vamos a poner bien locos. My dad used to say, te vas a poner bien chorizo. He's burning a little sage. Yeah, so The colored hats is something that's relatively new to us. We've always worked with earth tones. It was just our style. I hardly wear color, and we really didn't use too like extravagant colors. But we just started making like blue hats and red hats and yellow hats, and we're using, I guess what my mom would say, like los colores de Jalisco. We got a lot of really, really bright colors that you would see in certain parts of Mexico, certain pueblos, and using some photos or influences to design those hats. So what we're talking about is colored hats, but not just colored hats that have a simple band around them. Like there's actual accents on them that really take us to a place in our mind of different experience
of Mexico and our cultura. We want to incorporate that into our hats.
Yeah.
I think people are loving that.
So let me ask you.
What part of Mexico are your parents from?
My dad was from Sonora, and my mom from Jalisco.
Okay.
My dad is from Mexico City and my mom is from Puebla. So
Okay.
south and north part of Mexico.
Yes.
And I grew up in LA in
What part of LA?
North Orange County. Anaheim.
Oh, that's not LA though.
No, oh, I'm sorry. I meant California.
No, ya te saliste.
Yeah, no. Oh, no, I'm definitely from LA. Where? Riverside? No. Yeah, no. I grew up. I'm sorry. Yeah, I grew up in the West Coast. I did live a long time in LA, but I can't claim it. No, I was born in Anaheim, and she was raised in Brooklyn.
I was born
Brooklyn.
in Mexico,
Yeah, so a lot
raised in New York.
You were telling me that you went to New York and you came back with her, huh?
Yeah.
Is that what happened?
Hello.
Regresamos con premio.
Yeah.
I was born and mostly raised in Orange County, but I lived everywhere. I lived in Texas, New York, LA, but fell in love in Brooklyn, and we came back and started this hat company.
So started more than a hat company, bro.
She's 6 months pregnant.
Hey, so let me ask you guys. You said all your hat design, they have a message behind it. There's a famous hat that I can say a lot of people paid attention to when they saw a picture of Malverde.
Yeah.
I mean, what kind of message is that? Because
Well-
if you're going to a concert or something, for security, is like, hey, check the inside of the hat.
Well, I don't think for people who know me, it's no secret that I love corridos, and always.
I saw you and I knew it.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
that's the truth. Like people would ask me, oh, like what type of music do you like? Or when I get in an Uber, that's the worst. When I get in an Uber, the fucking K-Rock goes on full blast, and then there's the Offspring and no sé qué, and I'm like, no, like okay, cool, Offspring are cool, but no, I really like corridos. Yeah, like it went, and it's funny, and people would look at me and they would like judge. Like I'll go to bars that like play corridos and stuff like that, and they're like, "Este güey qué hace aquí? Este güey qué?
He's here
What
for a
is he-
fight.
This guy's selling drugs."
Anda buscando. He's looking for drugs.
Look at that cop over there, undercover. So thank you for the refill. I just noticed that.
So what happens to mine?
Yeah.
Is it still there?
It's getting cold. I was getting hot.
So that's a double-edged sword, right? Malverde can be looked at a lot of different ways. The Malverde was one that became very popular. It was a one-off hat that I made. I used to make, or I make, I'm sorry, hats with escapularios. I grew up in Orange County, and we would go to concerts, and it was pretty common to see, you know, un chavalón with a escapulario or a rosario and stuff like that. And I would put them on too, and I liked them, but I knew that there was other applications for it, so I started putting them on my hats. Para mí es más como talismán. I have my own luck charms or talisman that I apply to myself,
Right.
but I want to make hats for everybody. I want to
Custom
make hats for everybody, and the Malverde one became very popular.
Right.
A lot of people who don't know, Malverde could be the patron saint of drug dealers. A lot of people would say. Then other people would say that he was a Robin Hood of Mexico, robbed from the rich and gave to the poor. There's a lot of different interpretations of who Malverde was. For me, I kind of leave that open. It's
Right.
my art is more open for interpretation.
Right.
For myself, I think that it is a lot like San Judas. It's a struggling person tratando de superar, and I can definitely identify with that. So I decided to slap one on a hat, and it became popular. Happy accident.
Have you visited the thing they have in Culiacan?
I haven't been to Culiacan, no. No, but I know about it. No, I haven't visited a thing in Culiacan. For me, I've always been super into culture, and I know the negative effects of drugs and the drug wars and all of that stuff. So it's not something that I glorify, but it is reality. So it is a part of the art of making the hats. So it's not, for me, it's pues ahí tú, if you want the escapulario con la Santa Muerte or San Judas or whatever, that's up to you. If you're super Catholic or Christian, whatever you want on the hat. For me, I brand a cross on the left side of the hat. And for me, that was always the Pachuco cross, the cross that you would get between your thumb and index finger on your left side, with the 3 rayas or 4 sometimes. And looking at the history, the Pachuco cross was sort of a neighborhood or a cultural loyalty. And I have a strong loyalty to my culture, the Mexican culture. Less locally, more globally. I like to think on my loyalty to being a Chicano or being Mexican or Mexican culture. So that's why I started putting the crosses on the left side. I'm personally not religious, but I do know that a lot of religious people do get them. I've had people ask for Star of David's on the left side of and we make custom hats for everybody. So yeah, some people want them. But I've always really been into like danza mexica and Aztec and Mayan and pre-Hispanic culture. So the duality for me is really important. I've gotten criticized for putting a cross because that's the colonizer and stuff like that, and I know and I understand. But the cross is for me my interpretation of what I wanted to put on the hat. It's my my vision for the brand. It really had nothing to do with religion, but people can interpret it however they want.
So let me share with you guys. March 23rd. Let me show you a picture.
Oh yeah.
That's actually my son.
Oh yeah.
So we were out there March 23rd by the picture, by the date on the picture. So we went to Culiacan on some family stuff. And I told my brother-in-law, hey, quiero conocer la capilla de Malverde. So I'm thinking it's going to be something huge.
No.
And we're driving, and then all of a sudden, hay como like Mexican, like como puestecitos que están así chiquito, and you pull over, and that was it. And there's people outside que venden veladoras, all kinds of stuff. So we stopped, and a lot of people don't know. I actually, yo sí creo en Malverde. I always have a chain, but I always have it tucked in. And we stopped, le prendí una veladora, and then my son's like, what is this, Dad? I'm like, oh, it's a saint. And he's like, oh, okay. So you could go ask for favors, but you have to say a prayer to it. He's like, okay. So he went in. My son's like not educated as far as the culture.
Yeah.
Like that culture. So fuimos, le prendimos una veladora cada quien. He asked for a wish. He turned it on. And he came back proud, and he showed it to his mom.
Yeah.
Look, Mom, I went and turned on a candle to this saint. And I don't know what she told him. He came back, Dad, I was praying to a drug dealer.
Yeah. So
then I had to explain to him, like, this is what it is. So people, took it up.
Well, what
there.
would be your one-liner that you would explain to your son about Malverde?
Well, I told him he's the Mexican Robin Hood. That's what I told him.
Mm-hmm.
He's a Mexican Robin Hood.
Yeah.
Because that's the story behind it.
Listen, a lot of times we can't rely on other people to come in and save us, especially in these times. The political climate is changing, y le tenemos que buscar.
Yeah, because I'm not religious myself.
Mm-hmm.
I've started to become a little bit more open to like other stuff, like with the sage, like we were talking earlier. But así para ir a iglesia, I haven't touched my church in like 20 plus years.
Well, for me, the saints and the Virgin Mary and all of these other things, I respect them, but I also have the philosophy or way of looking at it very similar to what I've learned, like with danza mexica or like Aztec dance, if you want to call it that. That these were all representations of different energies, and for me, like the Virgin Mary would be like Tonantzin, right, or Mother Earth, some sort of sacred mother. So I'm open to anyone wearing these hats.
Yeah.
But when I make them, I have my own idea of what energy I'm putting into the hat. Always positive.
Right.
Always positive. But yeah, people can wear them however they want. I mean, the famous saying is "Aitu."
And Cynthia, so you came from Brooklyn,
Yeah.
all right? How long you been here?
Here?
Yeah.
We moved here last year.
Yeah.
So about a year and a month.
So how do you like it? Differences
It's different.
or what?
Very
Is
different.
it?
It's definitely very slow paced. New York is like fast. Like everybody's angry for sure. Here is más calmado. I feel like people here spend more time with their family, and la cultura se siente más. Over there it's like fast paced and chinga siempre. So I've always wanted to live here, but I never thought that I would end up living here and creating a family here, and especially with my husband.
All right.
So
You like never in the million years thought
everything.
somebody's gonna come and
Yeah,
and I'll go back with that.
exactly.
What's next after hats? Are you guys starting to incorporate more fashion stuff, more accessories to the brand, or what's the next direction? Not that you guys are leaving hats, but what are you guys adding to the brand?
No, never leaving the hats. Never leaving the hats. The hats have for me always been a sign of resistance. I can dress up. Too. I remember one of the things that really stuck with me when I was walking down the street. I was walking down the street in downtown Anaheim. Don't ask me why. And I was wearing a suit and a hat and some shiny shoes, bien Pachuco, like my dad would say. And some security guard looked at me and said, like in the 30s and in the early times of the Pachuco days, people would beat you up and take your clothes off for dressing like that. It obviously was a little bit racist, right, to say the least. And man, when he said that, I was like, man, fuck you, man. I think that we can dress however we want. Nadie me puede decir, like no one can tell me how I can dress. So I started, I had that in mind when I created this brand. I wanted to make algo fino, handmade, but very cultural and respectful to the culture for anyone who wanted to buy it, but mostly for myself, because I wanted to dress myself up and show people that, like we, as Mexican or Chicano people are, it's not in our culture to dress down. It's not in our culture to be broke. It's not in our culture to be poor. Our culture is very rich. It comes from like a very rich culture. Accessories, jewelry, all of that stuff. You can see the Mayans and the Aztecs wearing all of this stuff. So moving forward, I will always do hats, but probably looking at doing some sort of footwear or rings or something like that. But for now, we're focused on hats. Ay, güey. Tengo un chingo de trabajo. I can't even, ni puedo con los sombreros. But anything that we will do will exemplify that. We believe that our people are not inherently people that dress down. We're very proud people. What's the joke of people going, or the señoras going to the swap meet dressed up in a dress with the tacones and everything? We do like to dress up, no matter where we're at. So I'm going to continue to make hats, very nice hats, hopefully some shoes and some rings in the future, but everything just with the awareness of culture and who I am and where we came from.
That's for sure.
Do you guys remember your first hat?
Oof.
It was,
Yeah, it was. It wasn't the nicest hat,
Yeah.
but it was the first hat.
the
My friend has it.
shitty hat started. It was a black one,
Oh yeah,
and that was when we branded the cross.
Órale.
Really?
Yeah.
It was
So
terrible.
so this was so. Again, you were asking me earlier about like how you can straighten out a hat. How can you fix it? All steam, right? So the first hat that I made was an old tejana that I had. It was just an old felt tejana that I bought at some swap meet. I don't know where. I think it's like the Anaheim indoor swap meet or something like that. I took out the cowboy top. I flattened the brim. I made it flat. I sewed some stuff on it, burned some holes in it, made it look distressed, and reshaped it. That was the first hat. It was an old tejana that I used to wear. Actually, I wore this hat. And there's like a photo out there somewhere, I'm sure, probably like on MySpace now, of me in the hat at a concert for a band called Los Rasos. No, Los Rasos.
Yeah,
De
like
Compa Sacra.
Ronaldo.
So that was the first hat that I ever customized. Made it a flat brim, wide brim hat. Yeah, that was the first hat.
What happened to that hat? You don't know?
What I anda, I don't know. I
Por
think
ahí
my
anda.
dog ate it.
It
Man.
was,
I was asking like more of your personal hat, like your first, because
yeah.
my first hat that came out of my pocket,
Yeah.
God, it was like in the late 90s.
Uh-huh.
I bought a Stetson. No me acuerdo, era 4X.
Uh-huh.
And I mean, you could probably tell me more. X represented quality.
Yeah.
So I was at 4X. So it's like
Yeah.
I'm in the game.
Yeah.
Porque después salían otras marcas que de 1000X.
Yeah.
And I remember they used to claim that the more X, that you could actually doblar la hat y echártela a la bolsa.
Uh-huh.
So I'm like, whoa, that's some like futuristic shit,
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
But before that,
2024.
I remember the quebradita years. I'm older than you.
I
but,
remember the
you remember
quebradita years. Yeah.
I remember
The boots all the way to the thigh. Y todo el pedo.
That was actually for girls only.
Well, says you.
Hey,
We're in 2000. We're
yeah.
in what year is it? The quebradita where you spin your hat like this.
I had a hat.
Well, I didn't say I was wearing them. I said I remember those boots
So
specifically.
my dad bought me a hat. No me acuerdo de cuánto. It was cheap, you know. Y me acuerdo que le pusimos. Se usaban muchos pins.
Uh-huh.
And I remember it was the girl with this like L-shaped girl sentada con una pierna.
Yeah,
You remember
yeah,
that?
like, almost like the Playgirl. Mud
Yeah,
flaps
there
like-
you go.
Yeah.
I remember I had two. I had one on this side.
Playboy, sorry.
And the other side.
Playgirl. Goddamn, ¿dónde tiene la mente?
And then, ¿te acuerdas the stuff that they put to the cars, like on the doors por la orilla? Un plástico para que no se te raspe el carro if you hit something.
Uh-huh.
I remember we had ponerlo por toda la orilla. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
That shiny.
Yeah.
And that hat was flat because it was like too heavy for the thing.
Yeah.
So I remember it was flat. That was the quebradita years.
My first hat.
Rafa, what was your first hat?
My first hat. It was una de Palma. It was probably a Stetson or something like that. Sí me acuerdo. Tres Hermanos right there.
Yeah,
Always.
yeah.
That was the spot to get the
Fuck.
hats. Una Tres Hermanos Stetson.
What was your first hat, Cynthia?
I started off wearing just basic hats, and then he got me a Stetson, and then I was like, oh. And then we went to it was like remember when you got me that pretty hat? It was at the market, flea market.
Flea market
Williamsburg.
in Williamsburg, Vienna, hipster.
Super hipster. But I liked it.
In Williamsburg.
In
Brooklyn.
New York.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, Brooklyn.
But he got me my first Stetson ever.
Yeah.
And
Había dinero.
Yeah.
It was- yeah. I was like,
And it was a good hat. We left it in a taxi. Classic New York.
Oh, yeah.
So
hurt
your
me.
first hat was a what? What brand was your first hat?
It was a Stetson 4X.
Mine was a Stetson.
También?
Yeah, Stetson.
Stetson.
Mine wasn't a Stetson. My first hat, I loved Cypress Hill growing up. So I had like one of those floppy, like almost like sailor type of hats that Be Real used to wear, like on Insane in a Membrane.
Yeah.
You know that like. So I had one of those, and like I would wear it like with a tank top and really baggy pants and stuff like that, and some. I'm wearing winos today, but yeah, I would wear them with winos too. But yeah, I that was my first hat. My first hat was like those like old Cypress Hill, like almost looks like a lowrider hat, but it was made out of fabric, and that wasn't Stetson. That wasn't Tres Hermanos either. That was 5 for 10.
Hey guys, well, we're out of time. Thank you guys so much for being here. Before I let you guys go, los voy a comprometer. I need a hat, nopal azul,
Órale.
design. I don't want to say collab, but I want a nopal azul design.
Yeah.
Off your freestyling, what are you thinking?
A nopal?
As far as design?
Yeah, I mean, I'm very open to what you would like, and I can definitely make that happen. That's no problem.
What would you do if?
I mean,
you were
as
like
far
a
as
nopal azul?
design.
A nopal azul?
Yeah.
What would it look like?
Because I was already thinking of buying a hat. Because I have to, not a hat, but like continuous, because I really do love hats.
Yeah.
But I wanted to test you first, like freestyle.
Yeah.
Well, what would you do
It would
as
be-
far as design?
As far as design, I don't know. Like, I have to kind of see. I don't know. It's just sometimes it depends on the person. So I kind of.
Well, it's not the person, it's the brand. This is the logo.
Oh, the logo?
Yeah, the brand.
Oh, yeah, totally. So it would be something definitely on the top, and something like maybe something either blue or like cenizo, like we call it, and then just
I like that.
I can either do the branding on that nopal, so that it represents it, and then I've done a few nopales, and I think I can create something cool, and
Let me-
maybe at the microphone or maybe at something that will.
Let me tell you my design process. I was
Yeah.
thinking on the side, because a lot of hats, I mean, you have to have a feather, si no,
Yeah.
pues no es sombrero. I was thinking como estilo como una nopalera, but only one blue.
Yeah.
I see like sketched.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
That's what I was thinking, algo así.
Yeah,
Okay.
pues yo te pondría un pinche nopal right
Un
in the
real one,
frente. Right on your forehead.
You know, actually, that's the name, the meaning of the brand of the
Of course.
the name.
Yeah, of
Nopal
course.
Azul. When I came up with the name, it was like I wanted to do something focused for the Latino community, and I was like, well, the first thing that came to mind was cuando alguien dice, oh, yo no soy mexicano, ¿cómo que no? Si traes nopal en la frente.
La frente.
So that's where the nopal came from.
Yeah.
And then I started thinking about the struggles, our parents had,
Mm-hmm.
60s, 70s. And me puse a pensar, and I was like, well, because I'm first generation born here.
Mm-hmm.
I'm different conditions than my parents were. So you can't punk me around,
No.
you know? And our parents had-
Undeportable, como dice Momo,
Yeah.
Momo Rodriguez.
No hay pedo. Yo les digo que no tengo papeles para que, free trip. Ya de
Buy some
venía,
tacos de perro.
yeah, de venía no hay pedo. I got passport. Ahí está. But I felt that it was a change, like they couldn't do what they did to our parents. So ya no soy nopal verde. ¿Qué soy? Soy
Nopal
nopal azul.
azul.
Meaning change.
Como la sangre azul.
So
I like
that's-
it, man. I
that's where
like
the
it.
name
I
came
definitely
from.
like it. That's an amazing explanation of what nopal azul means, man.
So
I was
guys,
wondering what that is.
thank you so much.
Thank you.
How long have you guys had been doing hats? Se me pasó.
Maybe you guys
Yeah,
said
I've been making hats officially for Pachuco about 2 years.
2
The
years.
company's about 2 years
Nice.
old. But before that, I've just been doing it on and off, making hats for myself. Usually, I was making hats for myself.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Where the mistakes happen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The good
Messed
mistakes.
up my own hat.
I think Molly said, I think we caught them before they blow up. From what I see.
Yeah.
Like, cause you guys got the image. You guys got the image going. Everything. Like, there's a full package, huh?
Yeah.
Like,
Thank
I
you.
see a bright
Thank
future,
you.
man.
Thank you,
Bright
thank you.
future right
Thank you
here.
for having us.
Yeah.
No, thank you guys
hopefully
for
we
this
do.
time.
We got a little baby Frida on our way. So.
Yeah.
Congrats with that.
Thank you.
Just remember, ya cuando George Lopez start hitting you guys up, don't give me the we gotta finish George hat first.
I was like, I don't have a good memory.
we met where?
No, para nada.
All right, guys. Thank you so much. I'm
Thank
Molly.
you.
Rafa.
And this is Mentor District.